lecturer and our classmate. So today my name is Elata Faika.
My name is Rolis Robidemas.
And my name is Gwendolyn Jasmine.
So today our group will be discussing a pressing social issue that continues affect students globally, which is bullying. Based on extensive reports from international organizations such as UNICEF and UNESCO, bullying remains a critical concern in educational institutions as it significantly affects students' emotional well-being, social development, and academic performance. In my opinion, bullying is often normalized within school culture and dismissed as harmless behavior, despite evidence showing its potentially long-term physiological consequences. Before we proceed, I would like to invite Gwendolyn to elaborate on why bullying remains a present issue in today's society.
Thank you, Azabul. I agree that bullying is often normalized, which contributes to its presence. In my view, bullying remains highly prevalent today because it has evolved into multiple forms, including physical, verbal, social exclusions, and cyberbullying. With the rapid advancements of the digital technologies, bullying is no longer confined to physical space but extends into online environment, making it more prevalent and harder to regulate. Recent incidents, such as the case involving Zara Kairana and the bullying cases reported in Sabah, highlight that student safety continues to be a serious concern. From this case, I refer that bullying is not an isolated phenomenon, but rather a systemic issue within educational and social environment. Now, I would like to invite Rolis to share his perspective. Does bullying only affect the victim?
Thank you, Gwendolyn. I do not believe the bullying solely affects the victim. On the contrary, it generates a ripple effect, extend to the wider school ecosystem, including peers, teenagers, and parents. Students may experience a sense of insecurity. Teachers may face challenges in maintaining a conducive learning environment, and parents may develop anxiety regarding their children's well-being. This demonstrates that bullying disrupts the overall psychology and social stability of a school community. As Desmond Tutu famously said, neutrality in the face of injustice ultimately supports the oppressor. From the perspective, I infer that all stakeholders carry a moral responsibility to intervene in bullying situations. I will now pass the discussion back to Azatu to define bullying more precisely.
Thank you, Rolis. So, bullying can be defined as intentional, repeated aggressive behavior that invoke a power imbalance and aim to harm, intimidate, or humiliate another individual. One fundamental characteristic is intentionally, whereby the perpetrator consciously engaged in harmful behavior rather than accidental action. This distinction is crucial as it allows educators to differentiate bullying from ordinary interpersonal conflict among students. So, in my opinion, recognizing intent is essential in developing appropriate intervention strategy. Now, I would like to ask Gwendolyn to explain another key characteristic of bullying.
Thank you, Azatu. Another significant characteristic is repetition over time. Bullying is rarely an isolated incident. Instead, it occurs persistently, creating an ongoing agent of abuse. For instance, a student may repeatedly mock, exclude, or target by peers over an extended period. As a result, victims often develop chronic fears and anticipation of further harms, which exacerbate emotional distress. From these patterns, I infer that the cumulative nature of bullying significantly intensified its psychological impact compared to isolated incidents. Now, I will pass the discussion to Rollins to explain the final characteristics.
Thank you, Bengali. The final characteristic is power imbalance, which refers to the unequal distribution of physical strength, social influence, or psychology dominance between the bully and the victim. This imbalance makes it difficult for victims to defend themselves or seek for help. According to UNICEF 2023, every child has the right to learn in a safe and protective environment free from violence and discrimination. Based on the principle, I conclude that education institutions have an obligation to I conclude the education institutions have an obligation to identify and address bullying promptly. I will now return the discussion to Aizatul to explore the causes of bullying.
Thank you, Rolis. One major contributing factor of bullying behavior is the family environment of household dynamic. Research indicated that children often model behavior observed within their immediate surroundings. Exposure to aggression, conflict, or emotional neglect at home may increase the likelihood of similar behaviors being replicated in school settings. However, this does not imply deterministic causation, as not all children from challenging backgrounds engage in bullying behavior. In my opinion, parental guidance play a critical role in fostering empathy, emotional regulation, and respectful communication. Now, I would like to ask Gwendolyn whether family influence is the sole factor contributing to bullying.
Thank you, Azatul. I do not consider family influence to be the sole determinant of bullying behavior. Another significant factor is peer influence and social conformity. During adolescence, students often prioritize social acceptance, which may lead them to engage in negative behavior to avoid exclusion or gain group approval. Bullying is frequently a group-based phenomenon rather than an individual act, suggesting the strong influence of peer dynamic. From these observations, I infer that social belonging can sometimes override moral judgments in adults' behaviors. Now, I will pass the discussion again to Rolis to elaborate on the role of technology.
Thank you, Bengali. In my opinion, technology has significantly transformed the nature of bullying through the emergence of cyberbullying. Unlike traditional bullying, cyberbullying transcends physical boundaries and time constraints, allowing harmful behavior to occur continuously through digital platforms. This creates a situation where victims may feel unsafe and within their own homes. UNESCO 2024 emphasized that bullying often reflects deeper realization and societal issues. Based on this, I conclude that addressing bullying requires a holistic approach involving families, schools, and digital governance. I will now return discussion to Azatul to discuss the effect of bullying.
Thank you, Rolis. So, one of the significant effects of bullying is emotional distress, which include feeling of fear, sadness, loneliness, and diminished self-esteem. These emotional consequences often remain invisible but can profoundly influence a student's behavior and interpersonal relationship. In my opinion, emotional harm should be regarded with the same seriousness as physical injury due to its long-term implication on mental well-being. I would like to ask Gwendolyn what the prolonged emotional distress may lead to.
Thank you, Azatul. Prolonged emotional distress may develop into psychological trauma, including conditions as anxiety disorder, depression, and chronic stress. In several cases, victims may also experience withdrawals from social interactions and academic disengagement. Mental health professionals consistently emphasize the importance of early intervention in such cases. From this, I infer that bullying is not merely a behavioral issue, but also a significant mental health concern requiring structured institutional support. Now, I will pass the discussion to Ronnie to explain its academic impact.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. Bullying has a direct negative impact on academic performance. A student who feel unsafe often struggle with concentration and participation in class. Some may avoid school altogether, resulting in poor attendance and declining academic achievement. According to the World Health Organization, 2022, mental health is a fundamental human right. Based on this statement, I conclude that ensuring a safe learning environment is essential for both academic success and psychological well-being. I will now return the discussion to Azatul to propose possible solution.
Thank you, Maurice. One effective solution is immediate intervention, where bystanders are encouraged to act as active observers rather than passive observers. This includes reporting incidents or seeking assistance from teachers and school authorities. In my opinion, silence contributed indirectly to the continuation of bullying behavior. Therefore, cultivating a culture of responsibility among students is essential. I would like to ask Gwendolyn how victims can be supported emotionally.
Thank you, Azatul, for the question. Victims require emotional and psychological support to help them regain confidence in their sustainability. Simple yet meaningful action, such as we as an active listener, empathy and consistent support for peers can significantly reduce the feeling of isolation. Brian Brown emphasized that courage begins with both vulnerability and being seen. From this perspective, I infer that empathy-driven interaction play a crucial role in victim recovery. Now, I will pass the discussion back to Rollis regarding reporting mechanism.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. Reporting is a critical component of bullying prevention, as it ensures that appropriate action can be taken by responsible authorities. However, many students decide to report due to fear of relocation or social judgment. Therefore, school must establish safe, confidential, and accessible reporting system. In my opinion, reporting should be reframed as a protective action rather than an act of conflict. I will now return the discussion to Azatul for the role of school.
Thank you, Lolis. Schools play a fundamental role in establishing safe and inclusive learning environment. It is essential that institutions actively promote values such as respect, empathy, and inclusivity. In my opinion, prevention is significantly more effective than reactive disciplinary measure. I would like to ask Gwendolyn, what type of school policy would be more effective?
Thank you, Azanzo. A zero tolerance anti-bullying policy will be highly effective, provided that it is implemented friendly and consistently. Such a policy sends a clear message that bullying behavior will not be tolerated under any circumstance. Consistency in enforcement is essential to build trust among students. I infer that strong institutional framework increase student willingness to report incidents. I will pass the discussion to Rollis.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. In addition of policies, schools should implement preventive educational programs, including empathy training, awareness campaigns, and conflict resolution workshops. These initiatives help students understand the consequences of their action and promote healthier interpersonal relationships. UNESCO 2025 highlighted that safe and inclusive education requires collective responsibility. Based on this, I conclude the bullying prevention must involve collaboration among students, educators, parents, and the wider community. I will now return the discussion for final consensus.
Thank you, Release. After discussing the causes, effect, and solution of bullying, it is clear that this issue is complex and influenced by multiple factors such as family, environment, peer pressure, and cyberbullying. The impacts are also serious, ranging from emotionally distress to academic decline. In my opinion, schools should strengthen awareness programs as a foundation to educate students about the consequence of bullying. However, I would like to hear whether Gwendolyn thinks awareness alone is enough to address this issue.
Thank you, Alexander. I agree that awareness is important. Thank you, Alexander. I agree that awareness is important, but I do not think that it is sufficient on its own. In my opinion, students also need empathy building activities such as peer support programs and emotional education to encourage them a real behavioral change. From this, I reveal that both knowledge and emotional understanding are necessary to reduce bullying effectively. Now, I would like to hear all these suggestions before we reach to final discussion.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. I agree with both of your points. Therefore, I suggest that we reach a consensus that schools should implement a comprehensive anti-bullying program that includes awareness campaign, empty training, and a proper reporting system. This approach ensures prevention, emotional development, and effective intervention are all addressed together. I would like to confirm if both of you agree with the final recommendation.
Yes, I agree. This approach is balanced and practical for students to implement.
I also agree it promotes both understanding and emotional responsibility among students.
Great. Therefore, our group collectively agrees that a comprehensive anti-bullying program consisting of awareness, empathy training, and reporting mechanism should be implemented to create safer and more supportive school environment.
Thank you, Rolis. Thank you, Rolis. After discussing the causes, effect, and solution of bullying, it is clear that bullying is not a simple issue that can be solved through punishment alone. Instead, it is a complex social problem influenced by multiple factors, including family environment, peer pressure, school culture, and the increasing use of digital technology. Throughout our discussion, we have seen how bullying affects not the only victim, but also the entire school community. Victims may experience emotionally distress, loss of self-confidence, and declining academic performance. At the same time, teachers, parents, and even classmates are negatively affected when a learning environment becomes unsafe. In my opinion, one of the most important steps school can take is a strengthened awareness and education program. Students need to understand that bullying is not a harmless teasing or a normal part of growing up. Instead, it is a serious issue that can leave lasting emotional and psychological effects. Awareness program can help students recognize different forms of bullying and encourage them to become responsible members of the school community. However, I also realize that awareness alone may not be sufficient to create meaningful change. Therefore, before we reach a final conclusion, I would like to hear Gwendolyn's perspective. Do you think awareness programs alone are enough to address bullying effectively?
Thank you, Aizatul. I agree that awareness programs are extremely important because students cannot address a problem that they do not fully understand. Awareness campaigns help educate students about the consequence of bullying and encourage them to reflect on their own behavior. However, in my opinion, awareness alone is not enough. But many students already know that bullying is the wrong thing to do. Yet, bullying sometimes continues to occur in school around the world. This suggests that knowledge alone does not always lead to behavioral change. I believe that school must also focus on developing empathy among students. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feeling of another person. When students learn to place themselves in someone else's positions, they become more aware of how their world and nation affect others. For example, empathy building activities such as peer mentoring programs, group discussions, role-playing activity, and community service projects can encourage students to develop compassion and emotional intelligence. Furthermore, emotional education should be integrated into school culture rather than treated as one-time program. Students need to continuous opportunity to practice kindness, respect, and responsible communication. Another important point is that bullying often thrives into environments where students feel disconnected from one another. Therefore, creating a sense of belonging and inclusivity and can significantly reduce bullying behavior. From discussion, I input that successful bullying prevention requires both awareness and emotional development. Students need to knowledge about bullying, but also need the emotional skill necessary to build healthy relationship. Now, I would like to hear Rolly's perspective before we reach final consensus.
Thank you, Trinity. I agree with both of your point of view. Awareness helps students understand the problem, while empathy helps them change their behavior. However, I believe there is another equally important component that should not be overlooked, which is effective reporting and intervention system. Many bullying incidents continue because victims feel afraid to speak out. Some worry that they will be bullied, while others fear retaliation from the bully or social judgment from their peers. Therefore, schools must provide safe, confidential, and accessible reporting channels. Students should feel comfortable approaching teachers, counselors, or school administrators whenever they experience or witness bullying. Therefore, schools must provide safe, confidential, and accessibility reporting channels. Students should feel comfortable approaching teachers, counselors, or school administration whenever they experience or witness bullying. In addition, schools should respond promptly and consistently to reported cases. When students see that reported are taken seriously, they are more likely to seek help in the future. I also believe anti-bullying effort should involve parents and guardians. Schools cannot solve this issue alone. Parents need to reinforce positive value at home and maintain open communication with their children regarding their experience at school and online. Furthermore, on our discussion collaboration between school, family, communities, and policy makers is essential because bullying is influenced by various social and environmental factors. Based on discussion today, this approach addresses prevention, intervention, and long-term behavioral development simultaneously. Before we finalize our discussion, I would like to confirm whether both of you agree with this recommendation.
Yes, I agree with this recommendation. I believe this approach is practical because it focuses not only on stopping bullying when it occurs, but also on preventing it before it begins. By educating students, developing empathy, and providing support system, schools can create a safer and more positive learning environment. Most importantly, this strategy recognizes that every student deserves to feel respected, valued, and protected while pursuing their education.
I also agree with this recommendation. In my opinion, a comprehensive approach is necessary because bullying is a multidimensional issue that cannot be solved through a single solution. Awareness, empathy, reporting, mechanism, and community involved complement one another and create a stronger support network for students. I believe that when students feel safe, supported, and included, they are more likely to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally.
Thank you for your attention. We hope our presentation has increased awareness about the importance of preventing bullying and promoting kindness within our communities. Be kind, speak up, stop bullying. Thank you.